What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. XD here. In this video today, we're gonna be playing around with Purity. I'm gonna be showing you guys how you can get the most out of the plugin. So let me drop in a Purity here in the channel rack. There we go. And I'm gonna load up a chord progression that sounds really nice with the drums that I have already laid out. Let me just drop that in here. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, that sounds cool. So let me drop in another Purity. And for this instance, I know that amapiano is really popular right now, and most of you guys might be looking into producing amapiano. And I'm also gonna have a tremolo signal over here as well for this instance. And I'm just gonna put in some notes just to make sure that it plays as well, and I'm also going to play around with it. So I'm going to use these two different sounds and show you around Purity, because I feel like a lot of people use Purity but they just use the presets as they are and they don't do more with the sounds that they have. And I'm always trying to tell people that if you want to stand out and make music that will be a lot more different, you need to make sure that you tweak your sounds. Your sounds are not just stock, and you just don't throw in a preset and then you don't do anything to it. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay, so let's start with tremolo signal. I think this is the most popular sound in Purity right now, right? So there it is. So let's say you're making your amapiano and you feel like, okay, I want to change the sound some way, somehow. So first and foremost, what you want to do is you want to come to the mixer. So what you can do here on the mixer is you notice that there's a lot of other components that are here on the mixer. You also have the pan. So you can pan, let me just solo this. So you can change the pan of your sound. I don't know if you have headphones, you can hear that it's actually moving. And I can reset that. I'll just put in 0 and reset it. And you can add volume to it if it's too low. And make it low. If you want to add reverb to it, you can add Purity's own reverb by just raising the reverb over here. So I can just raise that. If I want to add a chorus, I can just raise that chorus. You can also add voices, more voices if you want to, or lessen voices. That's up to you. And you can also transpose it. Like right now it's playing like this. If I want to transpose it, maybe +1, I can do that. Then I transposed it, but I'm just going to leave it back at 0. So that's simple things you can do. And also if you look on the synth section, you also have the chorus and the reverb. So these are controls for the reverb and the chorus that is up here. So what you can do is you can change the tone of the reverb if you want to, and you can change the time of the reverb if you want it to be a little longer, the pre-delay time, and also the reverb level and the chorus and so forth. And you can also change the send return level if you want to. And you can also change the sync time, because it's synchronized with your BPM. So you can change your sync if you want to maybe load in your own BPM. Like let's say you want to change the BPM that it synchronizes with, but it's usually synchronized with your DAW's main tempo, which is the one over here, that's 115. But you can actually change that, and you can also change voices if you want to add more voices. You can also do that if you want to transpose again. But this is now the global settings for the whole plugin, so it affects the whole plugin, not just the single sound. And one thing to note here before we leave this first mixer page is that you can actually layer sounds. You see here you have 1 and you have 2 all the way to 16. So you can actually layer sounds and add another sound to this tremolo signal. So what you can do is you can right click over here and you can add another sound. Like let me go here into bell perk and add maybe a breath bell. There we go. So if I play, it's not playing right. that's because you didn't activate it and link the tremolo signal with the breath bell. So if you want to activate them to play together, you click on this middle switch over here like that. So if I play it, you can hear that they're now playing together. And now that you know how to change up the sounds and how to control each sound, you can be able to now mix it. If you feel like maybe the tremolo signal is too loud, you can drop it down so that the breath bell sticks out a little bit more. If you want to pan a little bit, one to the left, one to the right, you can actually get to do that. So you can keep adding sounds as much as you want, but be careful. The more sounds or the more patches you add, the more CPU intensive it's going to be. You can add even like a guitar. Let's add maybe this harmonic delay. Let's add something else, maybe a brass. So I'm just adding random stuff here, just so just to make some really nice layering happen over here. And then, obviously everyone runs into presets and you just want to slap a preset and that's it. But I just wanted to show you what you can do here on the mixer side of things. But if you want to now change the sound into something else or do a little bit of designing of the sound, you can go into edit while you have maybe like tremolo signal selected. So just make sure you have this the patch that you want to edit selected. It will turn blue. So right here you can see that there's a little wavy thing that's going back and forth here. So that's like the sine wave. That's the wave. So you can leave that as it is. You can change that if you want to like a tri or a saw or anything you want to do. You can do that. You can do it key sync or BPM sync. It's all up to you. You can see now it changed the way it was pulsing or the way it was swinging, right? So you can also add a glide to it. So let me just turn on these other. You can also add a glide. You can also add an arpeggio. So you can see here you can add a gate, and then you have a glide over here. You can add a glide so that if you just switch off the breath bell, so you can hear the glide that's happening. It's going wee. It's really cool, right? And you can actually play around with the amp envelope. So this is the attack. So if I drop this, it'll stop playing slowly. If I move it a bit to the right, if I move it all the way to the left, it'll attack much quicker. Let me just turn off this glide. It's really disorienting. And if you want to play around with the filter, you can also play around with the cut. You can even automate this if you want to and create an automation. I've always told you guys you can play around with the cut off filter. That's one thing that you might want to use if you want to create maybe like a build up or a change in sound over time. You can do that as well. But let's just go to the keys that we have over here. I think they work well when you're trying to design. So you can do this with any sound. Maybe if you have another synth over there. If I come here to edit, you can hear that it's sounding different. If I move that, and if I play around with the filter cut, and you can also change the sound or the patch that's in oscillator 1. You can see here there's piano, so I can change it to clavinet. It's a clavinet, and you can even add on oscillator 2 if you want. Maybe I can add a Vox. I don't know what that is. Let's add something there. So you just have to play around with a lot of these things, and you can also add effects. Like if I come here to effects, you can add maybe an auto wah or a chorus or a flanger. You can raise the feedback. You can hear the flanger effect. If I click on here and I add well, the tremolo and I add the depth, so you can change the rate with time. You can see here by the indicator you have half notes, so you can change the rate, quarter notes, depending with what time feels good for you for the tremolo to move. You can also add a peak compressor, RMS compressor, overdrive, distortion. Maybe if you have a bass sound and you want to add some distortion, you can add that and use that. I guarantee you will have a different sound that doesn't sound like everyone else, that's just putting in a preset and just calling it a day. You know, you can also add a gate reverb and so forth. So if you want to use this, you can, you know, you can do that and get a different sound, so your sounds sound different. A lot of people always ask the question, you know, how do I get my sounds to sound different? I need new plugins. Sometimes you just have to know how to use the plugin that you already have, and that's why I wanted to show you guys how you can get the most out of Purity, because I see it's mostly used right now and a lot of you guys are using it, and it's not very CPU intensive. With all that I was doing, it wasn't really eating a lot of my CPU, so you can play around with it. And if you go to things like setup, you know, you can play around with it if you want to, but I prefer not to, because that's when you like really doing more advanced stuff, and all of that, you know. And you can save your combination as a patch if you want to, you know, save as a patch or use a patch. If you create your own patch, that is, if you go in depth with, like, you know, creating your own sound and designing your own sound, you can definitely do that. But yeah, as I said, if you load in a sound, just take a look at the edit page, play around with the sounds, see what you can do, how you can make the sound different, so that it doesn't sound like the patch that you originally loaded up, so your music can sound different from everyone else. Everyone is making amapiano, everyone is using Purity, and we're all gonna end up having the same sounds, and it's gonna get annoying. It'll feel like you're copying other people. So if you use this and you play around with these settings, you will definitely have a different sound because of all these different parameters that you can play around with. So go ahead and try it out and let me know what you think down below in the comments. If this was really helpful, drop this video a like and also subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I'm gonna check you guys out in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. I am X and I'm out. Peace.